Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Look, we have card eight, and we actually are looking like this is going to be a day where somebody is heavily, heavily either lamenting something, thinking about something. He holds this bottle in his hand, and we can see it's like the vapors of a creation seem to be slipping away, or it's something that he bottled up for too long and maybe it's gone sour at this point. Look, he looks very sad. It looks like he's finally ready to like uncork. Like, if you they say wine ages and it gets better, but sometimes wine also becomes what they call a corked bottle, right? When it actually turns and it turns sour and it tastes more like vinegar. There are times, if you improperly store something, it's going to turn bad. Or if you just let something wait for too long, either you time out, it times out, something spoils. That's what it looks like. Oh, we have the lovers. Okay, the 24th could be a very tough day for a masculine. He could be a Gemini. We also have Leo energy coming in with the card of force. I do not know if he perhaps stayed under someone else's thumb for too long. You notice how, this feminine is kind of up above him, the lion is on top of him. We have a lot of like pressure. And I mean, this is a card called force, not actually called strength. So we could look at the strength card as like who's in the position of power, and who is the one being oppressed. And it looks like he is the one being oppressed. This does not look good. This looks like somebody had more power over him for a very long time with the Seven of Pentacles. And it looks like he's just now realizing how long he let his life be chosen or forced in a certain direction. He's got a lot of kind of frown lines, etched into his face. I almost feel like he's let himself or found himself staying for a very long time in something that wasn't right when he knew that there was a different lover that he wanted to choose, because the lovers is a card of choice. Princess of Swords. I'm going to say he most likely held on to the thought of somebody for a very long time. She stayed on his mind. He spied on her an awful lot, maybe every chance he got. If you look here, we have like a solid mass, though, a statue, a Medusa almost, somebody who's already turned to stone. And she's not. So I'm guessing this is him. I don't know if he did a lot of flybys, maybe drive-bys. We see that like helicopter flying above. It just feels as if he spent a lot of time. He could have put her on a pedestal to a certain extent also. This could be the lover that he wanted to be with, the lover that he's only focused on, the lover that he kept maybe in this jar, more or less, kept her tucked away, kept her in his mind, but kept her hidden away in his thoughts and never actually ended up with her. That's super unfortunate. We have the Magician. Yeah. He was always going to say that he was going to find his way back to her. We have that eyeball, that eye in the sky. We see him wanting to manifest her, but doing maybe not much more than watching for a very long time and perhaps waiting until the day he could give. Tell me, where was the place that you stayed? Why do you look so sad? Maybe I'm mistaken about this, but it looks like the expression on his face looks pretty unhappy, like he knows it's been too long. Where did you stay? Like a fool, it's that he went off in a different direction. So you chose to take a leap in a different direction instead of be with the feminine that you've been spying on? King of Wands. Okay, he loved somebody else. He chose a different path. He did. His heart wanted to go in a different route. Then why are you here lamenting this feminine that you spy on all the time? Queen of Coins, because he wanted her too? Okay, hold on. Tell me about the person that you chose instead of the Queen of Pentacles. So the Queen of Pentacles is the one that he is spying on, has continued to spy on for a very long time, but you should be happy. You picked you made a decision to go someplace else. You made a decision to be a King of Wands. You took that leap of faith, even though then he says, no, but I've been spying and waiting for the day that I could be with the Queen of Pentacles and be the King of Pentacles to her. We have a matched pair. That's where he wants to be and has wanted to be for a really, really long time, but he picked a different lover. And maybe it's that this different lover ended up being very controlling. The Lovers is a card of choice. Maybe he had a choice between two and he decided, I'm going to go with maybe a Leo. Tell me who the lover is that you chose instead of the Queen of Pentacles. We have a 9 of Swords and we have the 10 of Wands, both sideways. Maybe he felt like they had a lot in common. Maybe he felt like, you know, I'd be really stressed if I didn't choose her. 6 of Wands, it felt very successful to go be with that particular person. Maybe he got some kind of ego boost. Who was she though? I'm still, we only see him talking about himself. Like, well, she and I both had a lot of stress, the feminine that I chose instead. Maybe he went back to somebody with this stress and needing to like lay down burdens and then feeling successful for having made this decision, even though he was at a crossroads. He decided it was a logical decision, and she was somebody who was, in his mind, it was maybe she presented a good argument as to why they should be together or be back together. Is that what it was? Because it says she was a Queen of Swords, and she seemed like it's going to be really good. It's going to be really peaceful. We'll be excellent together. 5 of Wands. Look, here's the craziest part. Everything in him said, I don't think this is a good idea. He really, truly could not make a decision, and she made a really good argument to get him on board. He was at a crossroads. He was worried about this, but then it was presented in such a way that if you're with me, there's all these reasons why you'll be more successful. It'll make sense. We'll be very good together. So do this. Be with me. Let me help him make his decision. Like, that's how she came across. Empress, marry me, or come back and reconcile with me. This could have been somebody that he had actually been married to, was on the cusp of divorce with, and then instead made a U-turn and went back to and recommitted to the marriage. And, you know, that could have been why it was explained like it'll make so much more sense. We already have all this history. Obviously, you know, we own stuff together. We blah, blah, blah. Wheel of Fortune and Queen of Pentacles. That is nuts, because it was, he was faced with a moment, a decision in his life. He could have left behind, I'm going to say, that Queen of Swords and been with the Queen of Pentacles. This was his moment of truth. Everything was aligned. He could have either like signed divorce papers perhaps and been done with a chapter of life and gone fully to be with the Queen of Pentacles, or he could choose to, I'm going to say, go right back to somebody he already knew what the situation was with them, but he went ahead and went back to the situation. So the divine timing was here. This was his opportunity. And I kind of think that even when he made that decision to go back to the Queen of Swords or back to a marriage, even though everything here says he was so stressed out, he was so reticent to do this, he thought about it nonstop. He was at the crossroads. He didn't want to say yes. He didn't want to recommit. He, couldn't sleep at night, all this stuff. Then instead he goes, yep, you know what? I'm convinced. Yes, I really do love her and I should be with her. I'm going to take this wild leap of faith and I'll just go ahead and I'll be back with the Queen of Swords and we'll get married or remarried or heal the marriage. And unfortunately, it was a situation where now on the 24th, he is looking at that life choice. And all this time, he's continued to spy endlessly on the Queen of Pentacles, right? Endlessly, and still tell himself, no, I'm still going to be with her someday. I'm going to be with her someday. I spy on her all the time, but he knows it's too late now. Something has shifted. I don't know for how long he's been telling himself, even though I made the commitment and I went back to the Queen of Swords, Empress, I can still also be with the Queen of Pentacles someday. It's like he lived in the fantasy land of pretending he was, it's just the Queen of Pentacles was just a little further down the road for him, but he needed to be here now. And now he's realizing that's not what happened. I was given a divine opportunity. I met somebody that I really wanted to be with, but I didn't pick her. And this was a moment. Like, this wasn't like I get two people and I just need to picture which order do I want to do this in, because I'm going to get them both. I'm going to get both decisions. And, that wasn't what this was. You had a chance. Eric Clapton, you had one chance and you blew it. You will never get another chance. You had the floor. You can't blame it on the circumstance. Yikes. Tell me about that Empress one more time, the person that you went back to. How's that working out? 3 of coins, 3 of wands. He's like, I only intended it to be like, we'll work things out, but then in the future, I would still have a different life. So he fully recommitted to her and was actually even happy with it, because there was something about like their finances. We'll go ahead and we'll make a whole bunch of money together. We'll go into business together. We'll hang on to the business. We'll hang on to the house, whatever it is. But then later we'll still part ways. So he went into a contract or recontracted with somebody, but fully expecting to exit that and then eventually still get his Queen of Pentacles. And that's the part that he's realizing is no longer possible. I would argue it was no longer possible the day he didn't make the right decision, is what I would say with that Wheel of Fortune. But let me just ask, let's go back to him, that very first card out. Please remember, I don't read for genders. This could be masculine, feminine, this could be same-sex couple. Ace of Wands, 9 of Swords, Knight of Swords. He, on the 24th, is possibly sitting here saying, holy shit, it's too late. But now I can't live with the concept of being too late. This is too stressful. He is having a very bad day on the 24th. He is stressed to the max. He is just simply wanting to be with the Queen of Pentacles more than he ever has before. He's feeling pressured. He's feeling controlled, and he just wants to escape. He may be on the cusp of doing something just like wild and just going ahead and running away and trying to go after that Queen of Pentacles. That card, speaking of running away, the card went all the way over here, ended up sideways. 2 of Swords, the Star upright. I want to run away. I want to go super far. And yet he knows if he leaves the situation he's in to go after the Queen of Pentacles, he ain't getting with her again. And if he goes after the Queen of Pentacles, he already knows that door is probably shut. So at this point, what he wants is so far away. No wonder he's sitting here realizing the mistake that he made. And I don't know why he ever did this. I'm not sure, other than he was happy with the decision before. He was very happy. He decided it was an excellent layout for his life, because he said, I accept this as a King of Wands. I want this. I'm going to get back together. Even though he said he didn't and he was all on the fence, she presented, the Queen of Swords Empress presented the persuasive argument to him in such a way that he's like, yes, actually, I love this plan. I'm going to be with you. We're going to do stuff. We're going to get money. And then we'll part ways later. And then I'll go after that Queen of Pentacles. Let me ask this. Why did you think that the Queen of Pentacles would somehow be somebody you could be with way later on? Why did you think of her as somebody that you could just put on layaway for later? I'm just curious. 3 of Wands, the Moon sideways. On one hand, he's like, I figured she didn't have to know. I figured I could just come back into her life later and just be like, you know what? I've always thought of you, but the time wasn't right, but I'm here now. And he just decided I could hide from her. I could keep a secret the fact that I did this intentionally. This is somebody who is quite the chess player, or so they thought, but they suck at chess. They don't play the game very well. So he blew this, and why is it that you know that you're not going to end up with the Queen of Pentacles? Why do you know that that's done? King of Cups upright. Boy, he's sitting there. He might be drinking a little too much. His emotions are telling him the truth. The Strength card, again, I think he knows he's never getting out. I think the truth is, all that time ago, when he chose to not go in the direction of the Queen of Pentacles, and instead chose to put himself into, we'll say, the lion's cage with that Queen of Swords, who seemed very reasonable and everything. And by all accounts, probably things look very harmonious, and it looks like they do well, particularly like financially, business-wise. But he's realizing I'm never getting out, am I? That's it. That my chance to get out was when I could have chosen the person that I was in love with, the Queen of Pentacles, but I didn't pick her. I stepped into the lion's den and the cage is now closed behind me. And the person that I'm with has all the power. And I sit here and I'm crying into my beer. It looks like a very devastating day. He somehow thought he could still, have his cake and eat it too. And he's realizing he's never getting out of the relationship with the person that he picked. So at this point, with the Queen of Wands, I don't know. I mean, like, it's kind of this blurry fantasy realm, and there's that moon, so we know that that's the Queen of Pentacles, right? The one who, was always the secret person that he wanted to be with. It almost feels like all he has is fantasies. I don't know if he had tried. I mean, he must have tried dating the Queen of Pentacles before, so he already knows she's very beautiful. She is very much like possibly the sexiest queen he's ever known. She consistently has like not a whole lot of clothes on. We see her here with sunflowers for like a bathing suit top, but not much else. We saw that Queen of Pentacles before, kind of similar. She was, only partially dressed. I don't know if, he particularly thinks she's got a great bod, but he's kind of lost in his emotions over her and recognizing, I don't know if he's drooling over old pictures that he still has of her or something, but the tongue's out, so it just makes me think he's drooling. But he's faced with the fact that this is a complete and utter blockage. I'll never touch her again. I'll never kiss her again. And I may never be able to speak to her again because that tongue actually has like a big ring. It's almost like a door knocker. But I feel like there's no going back to her. There's no way he can reach out to her again because I think his fate is sealed. Now, granted, everybody is free and sovereign. They should be able to change and go different places if they want to, but not in this story. The Two of Wands sideways says he already crossed that bridge. He had the choice to make and he made it. I don't know if he's had some kind of communication with the Queen of Pentacles that actually already closed the gate, that she already knows you didn't pick me. These two may have had some communication, and that's where it really sunk in. Two of Cups in the reverse. I'm going to say the Queen of Pentacles / Queen of Wands has cut him free. She said something, I don't know if by writing or in a letter, email, text, she said to him, the one thing I know is that I know you were never my person. She let him go. That's why he doesn't have another chance. Let me just ask, Queen of Pentacles, did you figure out that he had chosen a different path instead of you? Justice in the reverse. He didn't admit it. He didn't tell me. But something's been made right anyway. King of Pentacles. Okay, hold on. And Death card. She's over him. She's over him. She's realizing, and maybe this is what she might have said to him, because he did have some kind of communication with the Queen of Pentacles. That's the other reason he's sitting here realizing it's really over. She said something that was so accurate, even though she didn't have full information because he never had the guts to tell her, look, I intended to be with you later on in life, but I dumped you to go back to somebody else because it was going to be good for me, but then I was still going to get you later. He didn't say that. But he didn't have to, because she looked at the bigger picture and said, here's the thing. I may never know what happened, but I can tell you this. I know that you're not mine, because a King of Pentacles, somebody who would be there for me, would never do the things that you've done. You haven't been there with me. You haven't been building with me. You weren't my person, because my person would be beside me. So it's over and I can let you go. I know that you weren't mine. I think that's the part that is hitting. The Queen of Pentacles didn't ever need to know all of his background and what he did. The Queen of Pentacles just said, you aren't there for me, which is why you weren't mine. I get it now. You're not mine and I'm not yours. And that's it. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing.